What's up, guys? I've got an acoustic to show off today. Some acoustic stuff coming your way on the channel. First time for everything here, but here we are. This is the Taylor A12. This is the Academy series, and it is the cheapest, most stripped down, bare bones guitar that Taylor makes that's not one of the miniature guitars. And I was really curious to see how much guitar do you get for that $600, roughly, that $600 price point from one of the top manufacturers of acoustics. And I gotta say, if you don't watch any more of this video, I gotta say this thing is impressive. I played it at one of our gigs and it sounds awesome. It plays great. It was set up great. No weird fret nibs or anything like that. The action is great. The intonation is perfect. I mean, it's what you would expect from Taylor. And I'm going to show off a little bit about what this guitar, what it sounds like, and being a stripped down model, it does not have any electronics. Now, there are two other models that do have electronics for $100 more. One of them has kind of this more natural look, and one of them is a bit more of a darker gloss finish on there, more of a traditional looking acoustic, if you will. But anyways, we're going to get started here. So this was sent to me, again, by the guys at Zzounds, and I've got it to try out for a couple of weeks and put it through its paces, put it on stage, and really see what this guitar is like. Now, I have owned a Martin GPC Aura GT for the better part of a decade now, and it's been my primary guitar that I use for our acoustic shows, but that's in a much, much higher price bracket than what this is for. I think this is a great guitar for someone who's not necessarily a beginner deciding if they want to play, but someone who has been playing for a little bit who wants to take the next step into a better built, better playing, better sounding instrument, but they're still a novice, not a professional by any means. But if you are a professional, this is a killer backup or just one to have kicking around for a pretty good price tag. So I've got a Fishman, this is the Rare Earth Blend magnet pickup in there, and what's cool about that is that it has your traditional humbucker pickup here in the sound hole, but it also has a little microphone built into it also where you can blend as much or as little either way in terms of more microphone sound or more pickup sound. And I believe that the pickup sound is pretty good, but the microphone sound on this is where it really shines. And that's how I primarily used it at our acoustic gig, where I played this with the pickup and a Fishman Lav box, which I've got a video coming for that as well. Now, for playing on stage, usually a microphone and an open pickup sound hole can typically be pretty disastrous in terms of feedback problems. So I had a solution. I took this little feedback buster here and I cut it just to the right size that it can slide in here. I made it a snug fit so I knew it wouldn't get out. So there. So that's how I fought the feedback on stage, and for the most part, it does a very good job. It's not perfect by any means, but it blocked out a significant amount of feedback that I was getting because I had the Fishman loud box behind our drummer with the drum kit. It wasn't the full kit, but it was loud enough. He wasn't using the brushes or anything. He was just using regular sticks, so it was kind of a loud acoustic gig. The cops came. That was fun. But the feedback blocker trick did a great job of handling that feedback. So I'm going to go ahead and get playing here. What the signal path is doing, I've got the Fishman pickup going into the DelVerb for a little bit of ambience. I'll go ahead and turn that off for now. And I've got the Aston Origin mic going into the interface, and this is also going into the interface. And what I'll do is I'll flip-flop between the two signals and also kind of blend the two to see how that sounds. So let's get cracking here. Just go ahead and play a little bit of strumming. I'm not really the best finger-picking guy out there, but most of our songs that we play, they're our typical rock songs that we just play on acoustic guitars, and it works out pretty well. So, yeah. right, so the way that I've got this Fishman set up is it is almost all the way towards the microphone. Now I'm going to go ahead and throw a little bit of reverb in there. Maybe a little more. And I'm going to isolate the Fishman pickup so you're not hearing the Aston, you're just hearing the Fishman in here. All right, now I'm going to blend it more in the middle position. There's a little detent where it clicks in, where it's half of the humbucker and half of the internal microphone. This is what that sounds like. All right, now this is all the way the other way, so it's fully humbucker and no internal microphone. It's a much hotter signal. I'm keeping an eye on the levels over there, and it's a much hotter sound. All right, I'm going to go back all the way to the microphone again. Let's hear what the Aston sounds like just isolated. All right, I'm going to cut over to the Hall, and this is the same big Hall reverb that I used on the Black Star video. A little delay on that. Let's change it. It's on the precision setting. Let's turn it on the tape. See what that does. Now what I think is cool with this setup in terms of the signal path and the microphone and all that, and I know my voice is going to start getting some reverberation here, so I'll probably mute the signal in the video for that. But what I think is really neat about this setup is that you can kind of do a wet-dry configuration where you've got your dry signal coming in from the microphone, but you've also got the big reverb and delay coming from the Fishman. And we'll see what that sounds like in the mix. I have no idea what it'll sound like, so hopefully it'll be cool. If not, oh well. Probably could make it cool if we really played around with it. But let's see what it sounds like. Okay, so what do I think? It worked great at the show, and it played well. Now, my Martin, it has a big cutout here, so it is a little bit easier to do some lead work. And there were a couple of songs where I had to kind of get creative down here a little bit lower with some lead work and not get quite as intricate. And I also have a Godin multi-act steel guitar, which is my main acoustic guitar that I gig with now because it's much less prone to feedback. And also it plays even better than the Martin does. It's kind of like a big Les Paul. And I use the Fishman DI box that has the Aura system built into that because I'm a huge fan of what Fishman has done with the Aura system, which is kind of the main reason why I bought the Aura GT GPC guitar to begin with. I wanted it strictly to plug in and play live and get a great tone live without having to worry about IRs or heavy EQing or anything like that, and it does a phenomenal job with that. But for this thing right here, I think that it had a better sound with the Fishman pickup in the sound hole and the cover than the Godin with the Fishman Aura box. This thing sounded really good on the stage, and it's got a nice big warm sound. It's not as big or as full or as loud as my Martin, but you know, as a smaller instrument, I wouldn't expect it to. One thing that I did not expect to love about this instrument is this little bitty chamfer right here. You can see it's got a bevel, and it's nice and soft too, and it's super comfortable with your arm resting up here. I was not expecting to love this little bevel as much as I do. It's so comfortable, especially if you're used to having like a big like jumbo or grand size acoustic up with your arm like this all the time. Your arm is kind of naturally resting on that hard edge right there, and to have a little bit of a shaved off part right there to soften that edge, man, it was great. It made playing it much more comfortable than how the Martin is. So big bonus points for Taylor on that one. Now again, I mentioned right out of the gig bag, it feels really well made. It has great fretwork. Again, everything is polished and super smooth, no rough edges or anything like that. The intonation was perfect. I didn't have to mess with the neck relief or anything like that. It's all just, it's a great setup instrument. And for the low price tag that this thing is sliding in at, I'm really impressed. Some things that I would probably like to see done differently if I were making this instrument. Again, trying to bear in mind that there is a price point that they were targeting with this. I would like to see locking tuners, and this is just my preference. I put locking tuners on everything, but locking tuners just make things way faster and easier for string changes and stability and all that. Another thing that I would like to see is maybe a better gig bag. It's a really thin little gig bag, and if you're carrying it to music lessons or shows or something like that, something a little bit nicer would have been better than what it came with. But again, they're aiming for a price point, trying to build the most guitar for the money, and whatever gig bag they can throw in, it's an afterthought in my opinion, but they got everything right in terms of getting it built at that price point, the best instrument that they could. So speaking of built, this is not American made, especially at this price point. This is made in Mexico, and I've got my Charvel is Mexican made. It's an amazing instrument, so no complaints there. I think everything coming from out of the United States has really stepped up in quality, and this is certainly no exception. So I really enjoyed playing this thing, and for the money, I think it's an outstanding instrument. Now, it's not the fanciest looking guitar, but it wasn't built to be. There's no binding. The sound hole inlays are pretty basic, and your typical plastic bridge pins. So yeah, nothing fancy, no electronics or anything like that, but it gets the job done, and it sounds great doing it, and it plays great doing it. So very little complaints about this thing. If you want to check this thing out, I will have an affiliate link in the description for both the natural version and the the glossy finish version. Again, I don't know if this one is still in production or not, but there are two alternatives that have electronics built in, and I'll have the affiliate links for those. And if you're not subscribed, it'd be appreciated if you hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, and it will help me grow my channel and get my my videos out there into the algorithm land thingy. So yeah, I thank you guys for hanging out with me, and I will have the video for the Fishman loud box coming up very shortly. So stay tuned for that if you're interested in as the name would imply, a very loud acoustic amp that's small, portable, has great features, and has quite a few benefits over an FR, which I have been using up until now. So stay tuned for that. It's really cool, and I like it, and we're gonna show you guys what that's all about, and I might bring out the Godin and the Martin for that video. So yeah, so stay tuned, and I appreciate you guys hanging out, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks. Bye.